POV. You wake up a billionaire. You open your eyes. Same room, same ceiling, same phone on the nightstand. But your bank account now has 10 figures in it. What do you do in the first hour? Most people answer this question wrong. They imagine private jets, mansions, a shopping spree that never ends. But if you actually study how the ultra-wealthy think, not what they buy, but how they decide, the first hour of a billionaire's day looks almost boring. And that boredom is the whole secret. Let's walk through it. The moment you have $1 billion, something strange happens to your relationship with money. It stops being a scoreboard and becomes a tool. Somebody with $10,000 thinks about money in terms of what they can buy today. Somebody with $1 billion thinks about money in terms of what it can become in 20 years. This is the first shift almost nobody talks about. Wealthy thinking isn't about having more zeros. It's about extending your time horizon so far into the future that today's decisions feel almost irrelevant by comparison. A fictional character we'll call Elena. Imagine she inherited a mid-sized logistics company and grew it into $1 billion empire. Once said the moment she stopped checking her portfolio daily was the moment she actually started getting richer. Not because she stopped paying attention, but because she started thinking in decades instead of days. This is lesson 1, and it applies whether you have $1,000 or $1 billion. The length of your thinking horizon determines the size of your wealth. Short horizon, short-term decisions, short-term money. Long horizon, compounding decisions, compounding money. Here's the part that surprises people. Billionaires are more afraid of losing money than poor people are of never having it. That sounds backwards. But think about it logically. If you have $500 and you lose it, you're back to zero. Painful, but recoverable. If you have $1 billion and you make one reckless bet, you could lose a decade of compounding in a single afternoon. The stakes of a mistake grow exponentially with the size of the pile. This is why almost every ultra-wealthy person you study obsesses over one thing more than growth: protection. Not protection in the paranoid sense. Protection in the mathematical sense. They ask, how do I not lose this? Before they ask, how do I grow this? Most people do the opposite. They chase upside without protecting the downside, and one bad year erases 5 good ones. Here's where it gets interesting. If you gave the average person $1 billion overnight, most of them would be broke again within 10 years. This has actually been studied with lottery winners. A massive percentage end up back where they started, or worse, within a decade. Why? Because money doesn't change your relationship with money. Your habits do. If you're someone who spends every dollar that enters your hand, giving you more dollars just means you spend more dollars, faster. This is the hidden insight billionaires understand instinctively. Wealth isn't a number in an account. Wealth is a set of behaviors that happen to produce a number in an account. Change the number without changing the behavior, and the number reverts. So the real question isn't, what would you do with $1 billion? The real question is, who would you have to become to keep it? Let's go back to our billionaire morning. Elena doesn't wake up thinking about spending. She wakes up thinking about systems. A system is something that makes decisions for you before emotion gets involved. The wealthy don't rely on willpower. They rely on structure. Automatic investments. Predetermined percentages for spending, saving, and giving. Rules that were set once, in a calm moment, so they never have to be redecided in an emotional one. This is the exact opposite of how most people handle money. Most people make financial decisions in the moment. When they're excited, when they're stressed, when they're trying to impress someone. Emotional decisions are expensive decisions. Systemized decisions are cheap ones because they were made once, rationally, and then automated forever. You don't need $1 billion to install this. You need 1 hour to build a system, and then the discipline to never touch it. Here's the perspective shift that changes everything. The billionaire mindset was already available to you before the $1 billion showed up. It's not the money that creates the mindset. It's the mindset that eventually creates the money. Long time horizon. Obsession with protecting downside. Behavior over impulse. Systems over willpower. None of these require 10 figures. They require a decision you can make today with whatever you currently have. This is why two people can win the same lottery and end up in completely different places 5 years later. The money was identical. The mindset wasn't. So let's bring this back down to your actual bank account, whatever it holds right now. First, extend your horizon. Before any financial decision, ask not, what does this do for me this month, but what does this do for me in 10 years? This single question filters out most bad decisions automatically. Second, protect before you grow. Before chasing a new investment or a new income stream, ask what happens if it fails completely. If the answer is, I'm ruined, the position is too large. Billionaires size their risks so that even total failure doesn't erase them. Third, build one system this week. Not a goal, not a resolution. An automatic rule. A percentage that moves itself into savings or investments before you ever see it. Remove the decision from your future self, because your future self, in an emotional moment, will make a worse choice than you would right now, thinking clearly. Waking up with $1 billion wouldn't change who you are. It would just make the consequences of who you already are much, much bigger. Good habits become empires. Bad habits become spectacular collapses. The billionaire mindset was never about the number. It was about the discipline that number rewards. And that discipline is available to you the moment you decide to think in decades instead of days, protect before you grow, and let systems, not emotions, run your money. You don't need the billion to start thinking like this. You just need to start.